Okay, this is Eleanor, Winston's sister. I wonder if it's recording. So, wait. Yeah. Okay, so this is Eleanor's Winston's sister. I'm going to go ahead and just groom her straight through without all the commentary. So you can just see how it's done without stopping and having to explain everything. Okay. And Winston's right back there. You can see him. So he's going to be making a little bit of noise throughout. And I think Eleanor's a little bit wigglier. You're okay, Winston. And Eleanor is very fluffy, but she's really sensitive skin. She's got tons of hair. So I just did the diamond. And you can tell she's not a licker, so I don't have to worry about having to put my thumb in the way of that. So I just did her face. Now let's get her paws. Try to remember to stay out of the way. You're okay, Winston. Wait. Kind of sensitive about me touching that paw. Next, come on, Eleanor. Okay. So I'm going to try to get it from this side since you won't let me get it from underneath. You're okay. Right. Get her back feet. I actually feel, and you can feel, I can feel while I'm doing her shaving out her pads that she has the extra toes too on the back. So when I'm trimming her nails, I want to just make sure I get that. Okay. Yeah. Winston, you're okay. Eleanor is quiet while you got groomed. Okay, so we're going to do her bum. Remembering to start at the center and go out so you don't accidentally nick it. Lifting the tail on some dogs is automatically triggers the sit response. You're okay. And I'm doing this, so Winston, and I'm doing this right after Winston, so some of what I will talk about will be in addition to that. So, because she's a girl, now I'm getting her vulva and getting it from side to side and trimming that hair, but having a really light touch because you don't want to irritate this area. This is a 30 blade. It's in the 30 blade setting on the Bravura. Okay, let's see. Got the feet. And I'm going to stand her up so you can see her belly, so we can see how far I shave on a girl. I like a really clean, sanitary. So let's see. So we're going to shave. I don't know if you can see. This isn't really comfortable for me. The inside, I'm not going to go as far up as a boy. But just get this belly area and the inside of the back legs. So I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit bigger, so I'm just cleaning out this area here so it stays clean. Okay, come forward. Now we're doing the nails. She's got extra on the front. Because she's not a licker, I can do her extra the 5th toe up on front just with the Dremel. Her nails are black and white. So with this, I'm going by how long they look, but also the feel. So I can feel when it gets softer. When it gets softer, that means you're right in front of the quick and you want to stop. But this foot actually, that's a white toenail. Next to a black toenail, next to a white toenail. And you can't judge how much needs to be taken off based on the other toes. Some dogs wear down their toenails unevenly. So I have one dog, Gus, that totally wears down the outside 2 nails. Or no, he wears down the inside 2 nails completely, almost to the quick. but then the outside nails, he doesn't wear down as well, so I have to, so when I do his nails, all I'm doing is rounding those two center ones to take off the edge, and then taking off length off the two outer ones. And on him, there's hardly any length at all to take on his back legs, so I have to be really careful that I don't get too aggressive. So. Okay. And I'm going to get her dew claws with the clippers. Being careful, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm angling the Dremel so that it's facing away from her tail. My hand's actually in the way, is in between the Dremel, the spinning Dremel, and the long hair. So, because I don't want to catch her hair on the Dremel. It is not a pretty sight if you do that. Okay, so we're going to come and find those little dew claws on the inside. I'll get on this side. They keep Eleanor a little bit shorter. So she has, oh, I didn't comb her out, but she has so much hair. She just is a fluffy girl. And this one, there was a mat right there. So I always check right there at the base of that tail because there's always a mat. Insides the legs. She also has really nice hair. It's a little coarser up top here and then softer on the sides. But both of them have just nice fluffy hair, so it's easy to make them really look really cute. Okay. Okay, just make sure toes. I want to make sure there's no toe mats in between the toes. Face. Okay, so remember we're roughing them now, and this time we're going to use. So her body's finished with a number 3 blade, which leaves it a 1/2 inch. I'm going to try out the 1 inch on her head and see if that leaves it too long. If that leaves it too long, then I will switch to the 1/2 inch. So remember, I'm going in reverse around the head, and she's just so fluffy. So I'm switching to the 5/8 comb. I'm going to open the regulator so that it doesn't pull it up too short. And I'm kind of going out of order from Winston. So, but I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still doing the back of the head, so I'm still going in reverse just on the top of the head. So I am not, and you can see it sometimes catches that hair, and you don't want to do that to the hair down there because it's really hard to fix it. So I'm going to go over the ears, going over her cheeks, and I'm going right next to the cheek. With her chin, I'll go in reverse. I'm going with the grain over the ear, I'm holding the hair down, with the grain over the cheeks. And then I'll get the rest of that when I'm roughing in her body. Now, the 5/8 inch comb, which is this yellow comb, and this is the Oster brand that I really like, is the rough in length for the number 3 blade. So this is the one I'm going to rough her in her body in. So we'll start right here, and we're just going to work steadily around her. The armpits. I wish all the Shih Tzu I groomed had hair like this. I'm just gonna, and it keeps on catching. It's something to do with my blade though, not her hair. So we want to make sure that we're going exactly opposite. And for some reason this keeps on catching. So I'm going to switch to the 3/4 inch blade. So another way to get to, so this is the finished blade, which is a number 3 blade. So I can either get to that length in reverse using the 5/8 inch comb, or I have a 3/4 inch blade that I can do in reverse, and it is this rough in length for that. So you can see it's cutting at about the same length as the 5/8 inch comb. And as much as possible, I go against the grain. I'm as careful to go against the grain as I am to go with the grain, because if you go crosswise, it leaves marks and chunks of hair that sometimes can be fixed and sometimes can't. So, she's so thick hair. So she's younger than Winston. She's a very sweet girl. She's different. Complete different personality. I think they're from the same breeder, which explains why they both have really lovely hair. So you can see it's not, I mean, it's leaving it really choppy. It would be not a pretty sight if this was when finished. So, and when I'm moving her, I don't know if you noticed that, I'm lifting her and moving her over. I don't want to drag her leg. Sorry, keep on getting notifications. I just want to move her closer to me so I'm not having to lean over. But I think this side will be more even because I wasn't having to switch from blades. And the point of this is just to remove the bulk of the hair. And I'm doing that because with the clipper vac, so this is a unique problem with the clipper vac. When it's sucking up the hair, it sucks up longer hair. It sucks it up tighter than shorter hair. So what happens if you have long hair like this, it lifts it and then drops it, and lifts it and drops it, and so it leaves it choppy. So that's why I always start in reverse, or I start with a longer length than my finished length to try to get off the bulk of the hair. Because when I'm doing my finished length, I want it to be as close to possible to what I want my finished length to be, so that it's as flush as possible and smooth. If you weren't using a clipper vac, you wouldn't go in reverse, but you would also you would back brush a lot more often. And as I said before, so now I've got most of her body roughed in. The last step is the neck. So I'm taking the neck. So remember, if you were to put a necklace, it goes right behind the ears, right below the chin, right around there. So that's up as far as it can go before the head's bigger. That's the point. So everything forward is head, everything back is neck. So I'm going to that point. And just blending it back through the neck, blending it up through the head. And when they're off the lead like that, I make sure that I am touching them or have an eyeball on them, because you don't want, at this height, if the dog jumped off, it could break his leg, it could hurt itself in some way, hurt its back, so. And, okay, so, that is my rough in, and it looks exactly like what it says. It's very rough. And as I said on Winston, the last step of the rough in is to go on the neck. The first step of your finishing clipper work is the neck. So, I'm going to hold her ears out of the way. You don't want to clipper those. And I'm going to open, so this is the regulator for the clipper vac. There's just a little flap that I'm going to move aside. It causes the suction to not be as strong. Until I know how short this is, how the clipper blade works on this hair length, I want to keep that open. If it's not taking much length off, then I close it. So it takes it a little bit shorter. So by closing that flap, the hair is cut a little bit shorter. I mean, we're talking a tiny, tiny bit. So, but this looks nice here, so I'm going to leave that open. So I'm going all the way around the neck, and I'm blending everything on the neck, on the head right now. And she just has such plush hair. She's like a little teddy bear. I don't use the term puppy cut because it doesn't really mean anything, but I do use the term teddy bear. I use it in the head and to describe the length that this is. So this leaves it at 1/2 inch. And I call it a teddy bear because it looks as plush as a little stuffed animal. And that's kind of the same length. So if you tell them that, you're cutting the hair to the length of a stuffed animal, they can understand that a little bit more. So I've done the neck. So as with Winston, the next step is to get her to sit. I'm pushing her down a little bit and forward, sit. And then I'm going to do her spine. So I'm starting from the clipped area and going down to the unclipped area. You always want to transition and then as with her, she's a little bit bigger than Winston, but her spine is only about a blade width. So, and I might start, I don't want to close the regulator because I think it'll leave it a little more choppy. So I'm just going to back brush just a little bit. And then remember, hold down the tail. So I'm going to hold down the tail, kind of between the legs, and then I'm just going down over it. By doing that, that kind of sets, because you don't want to take too much hair off that base of the tail. And I'm going to go around to just that. So, we've got the neck done, we've got the spine done. Now we're going to start on the shoulder. Right shoulder. We start from the areas clipped and go to the unclipped area. I'm running right with the grain, the direction the hair grows. I'm going to go and lift her arm. So you can see she doesn't lift. She's more comfortable than Winston is with lifting her legs. I mean, Winston lifts his leg out so far that it's really helpful when you're trying to do his armpits, but it's too far when you're trying to finish his legs. So I'm going to go up in reverse here and just try to patch that hair right in that armpit. And that will take that hair right here a little shorter, but that's okay. So, put the foot down. And as we did with Winston, we're going to just work around her body. So I'm rolling Taking that and just kind of rolling it so it's poking forward so I can reach it with my clippers. Going down over the foot. Good girl, huh? Go down in the sides, inside the legs. I'm going to try closing that regulator on the inside of her legs and see if it gets a little bit. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. Okay. I lift the leg forward. Oh, now she's doing the Winston thing. What did you do? Lift her leg forward. So then I can go down this leg. Okay. Now we're going to go, no, you're okay. Okay. Now we're going to work on the side. I'm going to fluff it up a little bit. I know I shouldn't be drinking caffeine this late, but oh well. Make sure my regulator's open. And I'm going to start from the spine. So remember that part's clipped. And I'm going to go down with the direction of the hair. And it's actually leaving it a little choppy. I don't know if you can see that. That's because her hair actually kind of grows this way. So most dogs grow this way, but once she gets down here, it kind of goes all over the place. So I'm just kind of doing that. I'm just kind of rolling her skin. That is interesting. So I'm going to have to lift her up and finish that. I'll probably take the same blade and go. In fact, I'll do it right now. Because I kind of chopped up that. So we're going to lift her, see if she can stand up. And because this area was so choppy, I'm actually going to go in reverse. Going in reverse cuts the hair shorter than it does if you go with the groom. Hey, go still, go still. No. But by doing that, kind of evens it out. So that it's not as choppy there. Yeah, you can see that you have to, different dogs' hair pattern grows differently. And so hers comes all the way around. Kind of has a cowlick there. Okay, now we're working on the back leg. We're going to brush that up. So that's what back brushing is. And if I weren't using a clipper back, I would be doing that a whole lot more. I'm going to be really careful. I'm turning the inside of that leg. You can see that I'm kind of turning it so I can get that inside of the leg. I'm going to straighten her leg, lift it up a little bit, get the front of the foot. She's not as wiggly as Winston. So, and at this point I'm going to lift her leg and reach the inside of the other leg, and I just close the regulator because I don't want to have to go through over this inside of the leg a bunch of times. Sometimes I will, you're okay. Sometimes I will actually take this in reverse just to, so like this. You're okay. Eleanor, you're okay. So I go up in reverse to catch those hairs. Just being really careful that you don't catch that flap right there. Okay, so let her put her leg down. Let's keep on moving. And the regulator's closed. I try to remember that. It's like with the Bravo where I have to remember what length it's on. I have to remember that my flap is closed. So that's good for the inside of the legs. And remember there's a dew claw right there, so I want to be really careful. I know, you're doing good. Good. So, open the regulator so that because I don't want it as short. And because this is my finished length, this is my finished, so I'm doing the finish work. I don't want to leave any top marks. I want this to be, sorry, stand up again. I want this to be as smooth as possible. If your blades aren't sharp, they can leave, you know, it kind of looks like corduroy lines. Your clipper has a, I can't remember what it's called. It's a little plastic piece that moves the blade back and forth. That has to be replaced monthly. And probably due to change it. If the clippers, if it's leaving lots of chunky marks, then I look at, first I check to see if my blades are oiled, if they're clean and oiled. If they're not clean and oiled, that can leave marks. If the blade isn't sharp, that can leave marks. If your blade drive, I think that's what it's called, the blade drive, it's in here. If that is worn out, that can leave marks. So there's a lot of things going against the grain can leave marks. And you can see that she just has incredibly flush hair. I mean, it's just both of them just have lovely hair. So I know that if I started leaving like a lot of choppy marks, that something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with something of the tool, my technique. Dogs with thinner hair or more cottony hair, they're harder to leave flush. So you have to work harder. But hair like this, you have to work to make it look bad. I think I got a mat, right? I think I got a tangle. So I try to be mindful if the clippers hit something, they hit an obstacle. That probably means it's a tangle. And if you try to force your way through, it's going to leave a mark. So that's why I make sure that the dogs are perfectly combed out before I ever start. Wait. All right. Before I ever start trying to clip on them. A lot of owners worry about warts and stuff, you know, little bumps on the skin. And so I actually had a client once mark them in a Sharpie. They actually marked on the body where the warts were. Which is funny because when you bathe and dry a dog, you see every inch of the skin, and I found warts that they didn't know about. So, and the clippers don't really, they just mostly go right over them. So that's not the worry. Having dew claws or other things that are sticking out. Oh, she does have something there. Those are what we need to worry about. I'm trying to clean around the outside of the elbow because I'm trying to get the inside of this by straightening it out. She's not, I don't really like that. Okay, let's see. So, I'm going to go over this a little more. Okay, that is the finished. That's the clipper work. At this point, I have 15 minutes left. So I'm going to text the client really fast, saying 15 minutes left. I'm really behind tonight. So, so I try to be done at 6 o'clock, but it's 9 o'clock. So, seemed like every imaginable interruption you can imagine happened today. So I'm way behind. Okay, so we're going to finish with the head because if for some reason we have more interruptions, let's say you have to go chase your cat because he got outside, or maybe they left the gate open and your dogs you have to chase them down. I had to do both of those today. So, so just in case we get distracted and the owner shows up early, we want to have the face done because dogs get really excited, and that's her mom with an emoji. So dogs get really excited when they see their owner, so we want to have that done just in case they show up because you do not want to be using sharp shears around the face when they get excited. So we are going to, so this is my teddy bear, and we're going to comb all her hair forward. Well, we're going to make sure first that I comb through several times just to make sure there's no tangles. So we're going to comb all this hair forward, and then we're going to rest the shear right on her bridge of her nose, right there. We're going to open it and trim it. In 15 years that I've been grooming dogs, I've never had, doing that, it's never been a problem. I've never had a dog move. I've never cut a dog that way. But if you do the inside, these are the curves. So if I put them so that the curve is facing outward, then that gives it a nice little, it follows the contour of the face. And some of my clients don't like what they call this the ledge, or so I'll take it shorter, but that's just what I think is cute. So that's, unless they tell me otherwise, that's what I do. Okay, so I did that. Now I'm going to come and look at the length. So remember, we ran 5/8 on the top, 5/8 on the bottom. So they should be roughly the same length. But sometimes it misses the hair. So we're going to just even that up a little bit. You see it's a little choppy through here. So, and his or she wasn't blend out as nice around the neck as Winston did. So I have a little bit more to take around. Whereas, I don't know if you remember Winston, I didn't have to do any blending at the neck because it was already set. But I'm having to put more. So I comb that down, even that up. Now, next step is to check around the neck. So I'm going to pull the ear forward. I don't want any hair hanging back here. So these are my chunkers. And I'm just going to blend around that neckline, the entire neckline. So, because this body's a half an inch, and the head is about a 5/8. So the head's typically a little bit longer than the body, but I want a smooth transition from the body to the head. I don't want to see any kind of lines. I don't want there to be a huge chunk and then short. That's just one of my pet peeves. So I'm just going to go around the entire head. And this is the area that I talked about, where you're going to put your fingers, put your fingers like that, and put them right behind so that the thumbs are underneath, and that's up. That's the head. So that's the line that I'm blending. So go up around. I don't remember if I got this there. So I'm holding the ear out of the way so that if she turns her head while I'm scissoring, I don't accidentally cut the ear. So I got that. Now we are going to blend top. Probably use my blenders this time. So, yeah, you can see how. So we're going to blend this part right here. So I'm lifting and putting it over scissors. And some dogs won't hold their head still long enough to do this. So it makes it harder to blend this, but by using this scissors, by using the comb, one thing I'm doing is protecting, because sometimes we use a bouncy motion we're doing this bouncy motion with blending shears, and you're not really in control of doing that. So if I'm doing that there, I can accidentally cut the skin or cut the hair or cut the ear, I'm trying to say. Whereas if I'm doing this, all I'm going to do is accidentally cut the tines of my comb, which is tragic because these are really expensive shears and this is a really expensive comb, but at least I'm not cutting the dog. So we're just going to blend this. And when I mean blend, I'm meaning I'm softening up the outer, I'm taking out the uneven, the longer hairs, and I'm softening the outer look. I really like it, just a soft profile on the head. And interesting enough, these aren't cutting our hair great, but so lift up. So that top of the head looks pretty good to me. So now all that's left is on our head is to do her muzzle here and through her cheeks. So with the cheeks, I'm just same thing. I'm softening. I'm just doing the outer 1/4 of an inch and just softening that. Take a little bit of bulk out of there. I hate when groomers leave hair in front of the ears. When they leave hair that's like long hair. That's the cheek. Cheek hair isn't long unless that's what style you're doing. So if you're doing long ears, it's the hair on the ears. Okay, so I always trim right in front of the ears. I always make sure that's nice and tight through here, through the cheeks. Okay, so I got it a little short right here. You can see that right there. And that's generally a little shorter than I would like to go. So what I'm going to do to even these up is I'm going to take the comb and just kind of lift it so you can see what's popping out. And I'm going to see if my blenders, I'm going to take my blenders over the muzzle there and see if I can round that to still keep that round, nice little teddy bear head and kind of evening it out on both sides. This is the easier side for me to do. For right-handed people, this side usually is. So sometimes you'll get this side of the head looking beautiful and perfect, and for the life of you, you can't seem to get the other side to match. What I do is look at, when I'm looking at the face, what is causing it to be unbalanced. Comb up the cheeks. Are those, is one side longer than the other side? Comb up the muzzle. Is it shorter up here than it is over here? I tried to keep the angle that I'm doing for the chin the same. So I'm doing that at about a 45-degree angle. I'm going to do that on the other side, 45-degree angle. Most clients want this cleaned out really well because they like to see the eyes on their dog. So I just make sure that that's nice and combed down. Can I see? Yeah, that's still a little shorter. Blend this up a little bit. And for me, I'm doing a lot of, I'm setting the length with the clip-on comb. But when I'm finishing the head, when it comes down to it, I'm eyeballing it to see what I think looks cute. Does it look cute? Does it look balanced? And that's what I'm trying to do. And so I'm just blending it and making a circle until I think it's cute. And I think that's cute. So now we are going to do our ears. So I'm going to, and I just, so dry here that I'm constantly having to use the finishing spray that also is a, maybe they've changed it. Maybe it's not. Because the other one, when they had it, so when they sold it by the gallon, it was specifically for static, to reduce static electricity. And they got rid of the gallon size, and so now we have those little bottles. It's not as cost effective, but I haven't found a finishing spray that I like to replace it. So maybe that one's not for static electricity. Okay, so all I did was comb it down and just trying to take, because she's still young, so I'm just taking the very tips off. So her puppy hair hasn't grown out yet. She'll probably lose those black tips. Okay, same thing over here. Again, we're looking to see if I cut them even last time. And it looks like I did. So, and because I cut them even that last time, that just means I'm cutting off the same amount this time. So this is still all her puppy hair. So I've got it combed down, and I'm just barely, for her, just barely taking those tips off. Now I want to check it, make sure the back isn't, make sure the front doesn't have. Sometimes you'll have little hairs that poke down in the back. Okay, does that look right? That looks good. So her head is finished. So now we're gonna work around her body and finish her as we go. So first step, don't do anything on the leg till you finish that foot. So we brush that down. We're cutting it even with the pad. We're just getting the hair that falls down between the toes. I tend to be pretty aggressive about how I shave out the pads because of the snow, the mud, and the weeds. So then once she pops her foot down, then we can comb it. And she splays her foot a little bit more than he did. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to go down over the toes, and where it falls down to the table, that's where I'm cutting. That's my first cut. And I'm following it around. I'm following it around. But the interesting thing is her foot isn't going to look as good as his foot because she splays them like that. So it kind of pulls them out. But that's okay. So then I'm brushing, lifting her leg up. I don't know if you saw, I just did the dome. So now I'm lifting the leg, doing this, the back of this, and I'm going to take off any of these longer pieces here. I'm going to roll the armpit and get those long hairs. I'm going to brush it up. And I can see there's some long pieces. And this is a hard area for me to reach. So instead of taking my, I'm going to try to remove the bulk and the unevenness with the chunkers. You probably can't see that, huh? So I'm just trying to, I'm holding her the inside and just kind of going down. Okay, so let's look. That looks good. Okay, so now we're going to work around the body. And remember we had weird chunkiness down here. So I'm going to just make sure this is all blended really good and not super uneven. You can see just how, there's a few little spots, but for the most part, has such a plush little hair. The blenders are kind of like your eraser. So, and their parents are here, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to text them really fast. I'm almost done. Or 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left. Okay. So, we're going to, so when I mean eraser or like the blur tool on Photoshop, you can just kind of, if there's uneven chunks, you just kind of use it to just kind of even smooth those out. Okay, so we're going to get back foot. And did I get her nails? Can't remember if I got her nails. I did get her nails. Okay, so we're brushing down between the toes, and then I'm just going to trim around. And I just responded. Okay, let her put her foot down. I'm going to comb her hair down. Sorry, I keep on. So I'm combing her hair down to the sides if I need to. I'm taking my shears. I'm rolling them down to the front. And there's my first cut. If you try to cut on the sides first, if say I start here or start here, a lot of times instead of having a round foot, it makes them long and pointy. And it took me many years before I actually attended a seminar and they talked about how to do a cute little foot. And it's like, oh, and it totally works. So that was not my hint. That was from Cheryl, or I'm trying to remember. She still teaches classes, but anyways. So I'm going to look at this. You're okay, Winston. I'm going to check on the inside here. Cheryl Douglas. Douglas. Oh, I can't remember. Anyways, there's two of them. Cheryl Purcell, maybe. I know too many groomers. Okay, so I'm combing the tail, making sure there's no tangles there. And I don't know if you can see that. Oh, maybe not. She's really sensitive skin. So I have to be really careful when I'm combing her out. I know that I don't cause irritation because her skin just turns pink. So taking the tip off, her tail's thicker than Winston's. I'm gonna lift the tail, combing through it to make sure there's no mats through there. And then I'm gonna trim up at the base. And I guess I am explaining as I'm going. I wasn't going to, but oh well. Okay, stop. Stand up. Okay, so I'm holding her tail out of the way. Okay. A little thicker on the inside. So see, her feet are easier to work with Winston because she just stands there. Whereas Winston's always trying to twist him inside or. Okay, so comb that up. And I'm not. See, I don't think those inside her legs looks. Pretty sure not. Oh yeah, that's totally uneven. Just now more. Okay, so moving forward, being mindful that the owner's pulled up outside. And, yeah, that's, you see that, just really, because her hair grows forward, and it goes back, so right where that met is where it just left a bunch of marks. Okay, last foot. Hey, go home. You know, it's been so late. It's almost, it is almost bedtime. Okay, foot. There we go. So, we're going to hold this back here. You're okay. Come on, Eleanor. Trimming that. Okay, let's put it forward. Move it down a little bit. And I'm keeping my scissors at about a 45-degree angle as I'm trimming around the foot. Okay, come up. And you can see all that hair that I missed. I don't know if you can see it, how well you can see it, but there you go. Missed a bunch of hair. Okay. Okay, so I'm pulling it up. And wait. Wait till she relax a little bit. Eleanor. Okay. Kind of thin it on the inside. And just these. Excuse me. Okay, there you go. Took me a little less time than Winston, but pretty close. That's because I couldn't shut my mouth up. Normally it takes me about 45 minutes, but there you go. All done. It's Kirstine.